According to Reuters, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered the military to carry out immediate forceful attacks in Gaza, the government announced on Tuesday, October 28. This follows Hamas handing over human remains that did not belong to the missing Israeli hostages. Israel considers this a violation of the Gaza ceasefire. Hamas said it was attempting to locate hostage remains but faced challenges due to a lack of equipment for identification. Netanyahu confirmed the remains handed over belong to a hostage already recovered earlier in the war and not any of the 13 hostages still missing.
Today, 13 of our deceased hostages remain in captivity. They were either murdered on October 7th or murdered in captivity by Hamas monsters. I was hoping to stand up here today and tell you we received the remains of one or all of our 13 murdered hostages last night who would have been identified by now, but instead I stand here to tell you something different. Last night, Israel received the remains of a deceased hostage from Gaza, and following the identification process, it was determined the partial remains belong to Ofir Tsarfati, a 27-year-old who was murdered in Hamas captivity after being kidnapped from the Nova Music Festival. Ofir was celebrating his 27th birthday on October 7th, 2023, with his partner and friends that horrific day when he was shot and wounded. The IDF rescued his body from Gaza in November of 2023, where he was later buried in Israel by his family. In March of 2024, additional remains of Ofir were returned to Israel for burial. I can confirm to you today that Hamas dug a hole in the ground yesterday, placed the partial remains of Ofir inside of it, covered it back up with dirt, and handed it over to the Red Cross. The IDF caught the entire sequence of events on a military drone. The Prime Minister ordered a meeting to take place at the IDF headquarters with senior-ranked security officials to discuss the serious repercussions the terror group will now face. Hamas signed a deal that would require them to hand over all of our 48 hostages, which was violated 15 days ago now. Israel has not only waited patiently during this time, but gave Hamas an opportunity to retrieve and hand over all of our 28 deceased hostages in captivity. We are fully aware and have knowledge that Hamas can locate and retrieve the remains of our 13 deceased hostages that are still in Gaza right now.